Olá, internet, minhas sombras, almas perdidas que vagam por este canal. Estamos aqui com mais uma stream de Genshino impactante, por enquanto. Hoje é o dia da Exilecon, galera. Estamos esperando desde o início do ano para esse evento. Para quem não sabe, é o evento do Path of Exile, que vai falar todas as novidades do Path of Exile 2. E a próxima expansão do jogo que deve começar daqui umas 2 ou 3 semanas, mais ou menos. Então, é isso. Eu não sei se eu vou streamar a conferência e comentar por cima, talvez falar o que eles estão comentando, sei lá. Ou se a gente vai fechar a live aqui para eu poder dar uma focada lá depois. Mas a gente tem pelo menos uma horinha brincando aqui, então vamos fazer o máximo que a gente conseguir do evento da CASTV. Tem um evento novo também, não tem? Tem esse evento novo aí também, vamos dar uma olhada nele. Se bobear, nós vamos fazer ele primeiro. Cafezinho. If you want to be, if you want to be, forgive. Partiu, partiu. Fale comigo, meu amigo. Blá 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 blá, é porcaria. Não vai ter nada demais aqui não. Vai, cara, deixa eu entrar logo nessa merda aí, descer a porrada e no que tiver lá dentro. Ah, até que é engraçado. Não sei o que tu falou, mas é engraçado ver sua boca se mexendo sem eu entender o que você está falando. A boca dele nem tá mexendo, tá, Paimon? Pouco imaginei. Por que você tá olhando pra Paimon, cara? Olha pra mim, irmão. Que isso? Ô, Paimon. Porra é essa? Tá roubando a cena? Que isso, cara? Hum. Ok. Beleza, vamos lá. Vamos ver o que se trata isso aí. Nossa, ainda tem que esperar mais um dia. Nossa, cara, que chato isso, viu? Meu Deus. Nossa, 12? Dá, vai tomar, Norabi. Só dá pra fazer 2, então. Dificuldade difícil. Crise, desespero. Sem nenhum personagem repetido. Ah, olha o Felipe. E aí, Felipe? Tranquilo, irmão? Dark. Se eu largar o freio, daí você bate, cara. Oxi. Tá, o que eu quero é isso aqui, ó. Normal superior. Esses dois aqui me interessam também, mas foda-se. Vamos lá. Aqui? 4 personagens não repetidos. Como assim, cara? Como assim não repetido? Ah, são 3 rodadas. Nossa, que bosta. Ok. Dum, 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 dum. Demorando muito pra matar ele. Vou ter que jogar no mais fraco. Eu não sei por que botam tanto HP nesses bichos, não. O HP dele não morre não, irmão. Essa merda. Ué. Meu amigo, que HP absurdo. Muita vida, muita vida. Eu não entendo por que botam tanta vida nesses bonecos. Desnecessário. Totalmente desnecessário. Crise. Vamos tentar crise. Ok. Tentar de novo. Acho que não vai dar de novo. Os bichos têm muita vida. Muita, muita vida. Muita vida. É, irmão, uma horinha pra Exilecon começar. A diferença, mano, daquele nível pra esse daqui. Se fosse só o tempo, era tranquilo, mas os caras botam 5, 7 vezes a vida nos inimigos, mó loucura. Tem a galera lá no chat lá usando lá com o login no C.A.S.T.V. Muito bom. E caramba, qual é, irmão? Ok, vamos pro próximo. Ah, não sei quem eu boto. Ok, vamos lá.
CASTV のイカズ天へと舞う風が今年だとこれで図が高いぞやはへいだとミック稲光すなわち永遠なりはっだ手をつなぎま邪魔しないで極寒属性を見下ろさんこれで風が今年君ごとき僕を直視する気かへい星のご加護を痛くしちゃうかもやこれでせいや
Ok, último.
よっ主演満員だよほっ踊りなさい立ったソーランの憩いや風よそこだともみちばう散らまく惜しみ一応目を覆えるせい音が聞こえるやっ失礼ご助力を雪を前ソーランの憩い失礼めくらましよっそれよマイヤあれ狂いなさいやっだご安心を見えないだろ主演満員だよついてきて踊りなさい
Acredito que eu fiz o primeiro, né? Perfeito. Vamos pro segundo. Fazer a mesma coisa. Podia vir automático, né, os bonecos. Poxa. Cadê? Sou meio chato.
祭りの開始や。影のカラスが優也を求めている。やはあや火の用心。姿を見せ戻れ。夜の権限。我が名はドアチシンクになり。
岩山八九天道万象。
断罪の
おい。Eita, não conhecia esse toque. Próximo. Tranquilinho, meu amigo, só vamos. Ah, não posso morrer, não. Tô vivo. De certo modo. Ok, sei. Ih. Ok, não perdi ninguém. Foi perto. Não que tenha problema eu perder alguém, mas eu não quero. Não quero. Não quero. Não vou perder ninguém. Que isso? Que isso? Tô me macetando aqui. Eita.
音が聞こえる。ご安心を。失礼。桜吹雪。
É isso. Ué, por que tava marcando aqui ainda? Não entendi. Ok, agora o próximo só daqui 12 horas. É, só de madrugada. Então não posso fazer mais o próximo. Vamos pra Cli. Isso aqui eu já fiz. Agora é o daqui. Ir lá pra ilha. Até o local para continuar a missão. Fazer isso aqui também que eu esqueço sempre. Vai. Poxa. Meu mouse me trollando. Brum brum baram brum baram 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 baram. E aí, Tubinho? Tubinho. Muito obrigado. Obrigadinho. Adeusinho. É nóis. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, dun. Dun, dun, dun. Dun, 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 dun. Dun, 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 dun. What? E aí, meu amigo, bora? Nunca imaginei, bababá, desculpa, mas a atração ainda não foi oficialmente aberta. Vocês pensarão o que você está planejando? Bababá, bababá, batalha de turbulência, blá blá blá. O engenheiro suspeito, blá blá blá. Então, uma atração permitida. E quanto ao caminhão, apenas uma simples. No entanto, algumas pessoas gostam. Se eu ainda tiver, Paimon não imaginava. Também estou curioso. Na verdade, é muito longo. Paimon não mais chamá-lo. Esse tipo de muito sugestivo. Crocodilo explosivo, disparar bomba d'água, alguma coisa. Chantilon. Que? Chatilon? Que merda. Também concordo, tudo bem, perfeito, espero. Eu também espero. Uma instalação, a atração, você acumulará. Ok. Aqui? Não. Estimadas convidadas, vamos jogar. Não tem problema algum de curso intensivo. Curso intensivo de mira precisa. Ok. Ah, não deve ser muito difícil. Qual a dificuldade disso? Blá, 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 blá. Só lá. E aí? Tá, tem 10 tira? Tem que recarregar cada tiro, não, né? Sério? 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 Ai, Rico. Ué, não entendi. Oxi. Que loucura. Pum, aí, ei. 6 também, vai, tum. Ué, é, isso aí. Não! Tá, perdi aqui. Ele volta? Volta. Não, não volta. Merda. Ok. Ué. Eu sou rápido demais, cara. Eu sou muito bom no que eu faço. Dá licença. Sério? Ah! Ok. Vamos à batalha. Esse jogo está meio louco só. Ué. Sai da minha frente, porquinho. Bum. Ué. Ok. Xabalão. Ah. Droga. Não. Não, demora muito. Aí, boa. É nóis. Sério? Deme. Como pegou isso aqui? Ok. Podia ter um botão pra continuar, né, mano? O jogo não me deu. O jogo não me permite continuar. Vai lá, Chantilon. Quero mais uma. Cafezinho. Ah, tinha que... Pô, trollou, hein? Ah! Merda. Olha o coração. Droga. Ah, acabou. Só mais uma agora. Pararampa, pararandarira, pararandarira. Uhum. Merda. Cara, como que eu errei? Não! Eu vou pegar esses porquinhos. Eu não peguei. É isso. Easy. Meu oi tá ficando mão de vaca, hein? Tá dando um pouquinho a primo. Quero mais primo, Mihoyo. $1.200 pra pegar ela, ok. Próximo. Ops. Próxima atração. Uma luz azul me guia, com a destreza e os lampejos do farol. 30 minutinhos, pra te apesar, ele vai começar. Tô muito curioso, mano, com o que vai ser novo aí de bom. Segundinho, galera. Segundinho, gente. Segura. Segurou. Ok. Vai. Imagine só, falando nisso, Paimon sentiu, deixa Paimon, mais Paimon, não, certo, 70, tudo isso. Hehe, agora sim estamos falando, essa é a chave, vamos nos esforçar, é verdade. Hehe, aluna, não podemos, o futuro da raposa. Não podemos mesmo não, cara. O futuro é só dela pra poder. O que diabo você tem que fazer? Não tem ideia. Vamos descobrir agora. Param, pam, pam. Partiu. Ah, eu tinha sim dash, eu não sabia. Eu ainda tentei dar o dash e não tinha conseguido. Eu apertei o botão errado. Na real, acho que esse dash é automático. Ok. Cadê o próximo? Começou aqui. Aí, ó, galera, ó. Tá rolando aí Exilecon.
Well know much about it, so we're here to engage in rampant, useless speculation today. So I'm looking forward to getting into that. But for the moment, folks, how are you feeling? Excited, Mathel?
Yeah, I am super nervous. First of all, just to be on stage doing this thing, but then, of course, just the whole new update, the reveal, like knowing what's been happening the past 4 years, you can feel there's a lot of excitement and energy.
Esses aí
out
são
here.
os streamers
And,
do CASTV.
everyone's just,
Deixa eu dar uma.
yeah, keen to get going.
Nervous and
Vamos dar uma
excited, like
relaxada
two
aqui
sides
por
of the same
enquanto.
coin. I get it,
does.
totally.
Yeah, no, it's
Quando
like,
começar a
it's hard to
rolar
tell what's what a lot
as
of the time
paradas
because
importantes, a gente vai mudar
we've got
a
to do stuff and we've got to
Falta 30
get
minutos
into the
ainda.
whole reveal, but I feel like it's a bit more excitement. It's still very much nerves because I'm not used to doing something like this, not used to being around all the people and they know you and, you know, meeting the developers. It's crazy stuff.
Everyone loves you, mate. How about you, Rise?
I felt a lot better before you called my speculation useless.
And rampant, don't forget.
Oh yeah, sure. I mean, they're going to be 100% accurate. We've got all the predictions. It's going to be solid, I think.
I kind of threw you on the bus today a little bit. He had some stuff planned out for speculations, but I just like cut him off at the knees, so he's had to rethink his speculations his entire life,
Será que
really,
tá aqui?
in the lead up to this moment. So I
Será que tá
imagine
lá
that's kind
no
of
alto?
stressful, getting up on stage
Acho que é aqui
and being
mesmo.
in that situation.
Hey, I think I'm good. I've got some good ones.
Excellent, excellent. What about you, Noogie?
Excited and as Mathel, pretty nervous, I would say. But we're joined with so many just lovely people.
Calma, acho que tá rolando o
traveling
som
all the way
da
to New
stream,
Zealand
né?
and
Yeah.
Pronto. Esqueci de botar o som do jogo de volta, desculpa, hein. Pam, 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 pam. Tá falando que é pra baixo. Aqui? Prontinho.
姿をいけ火の用心いやいや行くでやっせっほな
剣女盤石
Ah, o som tá alto pra caramba pra mim aqui desse jogo. Só um segundinho, gente. Pronto. Eu vou ter que subir, né, de novo. Ué, oxi. Qual é a do jogo? Mas quem é que tá com o bagulho? Era você? Não sei. Sei nem o que era pra eu ter olhado. Tá, você. Não entendi. Qual é a lógica? Aqui. Aqui. Aqui, você. Qual a lógica? Ah tá, tem que fazer 3 vezes, ok. Achei que eu tava errando, porra. Não tem nada pra dizer que eu tô acertando? Oxe. Ok, né? Vambora. Desafio bem sucedido. Tá bem tranquilo, mano. Ai, levei. Foi. Tururundum. Achei que eu ia perder o ouro porque eu acertei uma coisa da. O bagulho deixa lento pra caralho o boneco. Merda. Pronto. Oh, não, não é pra mexer aqui, não. Sai. Não quita, né? Como é que eu quito? P. Ah, tem mais uma ainda. Achei que já era o último. Droga. Cadê? Aqui. Pronto. Próxima. Galera, pausinha, 2 minutos, já retornamos. Correr ali no banheiro rapidinho. Já voltamos.
花と酒を手に景色を堪能しようとしたが、あの頃とはもう違う。悠々とまた。花と酒を手に景色を堪能しようとしたが、あの頃とはもう違う。悠々とまた。
Ih, estamos voltando. Caramba. Acho que eu deixei cair alguma coisa no meu olho. Dano pra caramba, do nada. Ih,
旅はいつか
espero que não
終わ
seja
りを迎え
nada.
る
Pegar a
慌て
aguinha.
る必要はない
E problema, galera, estamos sem água. Vambora.
花と酒を手に景
Tá
色を堪
marcado,
能しよう
tá?
とした
Já tô no lugar. Partiu. Uhum. Tu tá sentindo tudo, meu amigo? Só vamos. Entendi nada. Hum. Ok. Só é uma arena, então. Ah, Zongli, como sempre, subindo nas coisas.
Ganzan
断罪の名にもっと気ぃつけるで。へいやさっきえや行くで。黒き翼よ、昼夜を切りせやおっと祭りの開始や。戻れ。姿を見せよ、オズ。影のカラス。
Droga, eu usei o Oz e usei o ult, daí não.
答えなさ。
剣女盤石
火の用心。えやさあやへいやはいふったまや断罪の名に諸行無常。花火見いひん。さあへいそりゃほなはへいせやふっ金魚やでほなへいふっ黒き翼よ、昼夜を切り裂きなさい。火の用心。やふっへいはややへいへいやふっ姿を見せ。戻れ。おっとは
É, o tempo acho que eu não vou bater não. É 2 minutos e meio pra fechar tudo. Eu não tô com personagem pra juntar os inimigos.
隙あり難攻不落
断罪の名によ言いつけるで。やっふっせふっはへいやきなやや夜の権限。
É, acabou o tempo.
行け火の用心
Pena. Hum.
小さな風の赴くままに雲が仮な
全部丸見え姿を見せよ花火見いひんやややっふっやっさあ行くで近所やで
お嬢様の仰せのままに。またか。
風を知れそこもみちばをちら
言ってるでへっやっへいやはなや断罪の名において夜の権限答えなさ手をつなぎましょう花火にいいさあそりゃへいやっやっへいあ近所やで
お嬢様の仰せのままに。
マイはっや
全部丸見えね言ってるでほなせいやってやっせいふっはっへいせいだわや手をつなぎましょう姿を
とそれ
花火にやっあこえいふっやっておっとほな
重い拳を受け止めるか。
知識をあなたにも
はっふっ雲が仮なくと
言ってるでやっ
相手を間違え
祭りの開始やえいやっふっ断罪の名において
た風をもみちばを散らまく惜しみ風の行く先を
痛くしちゃう
また。
Nossa. Ok. Ó, consegui fazer o tempo agora. Era a ideia, né? De ter colocado o Kazuha. Quase que eu morri, porque eu fiquei sem vida.
風を知れ雲が仮なくと
花火にいいせほなだわや夜の権限
風の赴くままに
ふっやっへっえい
はっはっ
やっ戻れおっとへっ言ってるでふっやっへいややっへいふっ祭りの開始や
風を知れ風の歌雲の
姿を見せよ火の用心やっへい
風の行く先を
答えなさいせいせいルテンやっへっ
風の赴くままに。
やや戦争開け権限制
夜の源源。
風の行く先を。
花火見いひやっておっとふっせっへっはっせっへっせっへいやピンクやでやいけ火の用心やっやっはっせっ
Ah, 5.
ほな
Ah, tá acabando o tempo. Não, 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 não acabe. Ah, acabou, estourou. Droga, na hora H. Na hora H não, né? Estourou por 5 segundos. 6 segundos. Poxa. Quase. Ah, foi pertinho. Já já vai começar, galera. 3 minutos. Vambora, rápido, rápido, rápido. Cadê? Kazuha, não. Kiki. Kiki, Kazuha, Yoimiya. Vambora de novo.
風の行く先を。雲が借りなく。
花火見いひ
夜の源源。
風を知れ。そこだ。
またか。
答えなさい言ってるでやっえっへっふっえいやはピンクやで姿を見せよオズ影のカラスが優や思っ
風の赴くままに。風の歌雲の
火の用心えっせっあっふっはっおっとやっはんに
それそこだ。
ダン言ってるでふっせっやっせっ祭りの開始やふっ
Meu Deus, não tá. Não tá sendo escolhido, tá tudo em cooldown.
風を知れ。雲が借りなく。
夜の源源。
火の用心やっほなへっふっやっ
風の行く先を。
諸行無常姿を見せよ
Ok, conseguimos. Galera, vamos começando a preparar aqui o campo aqui pro pet. Vamos lá, esconde o Genshin. Libera o código do PC. Cadê o pet? Tá aqui. Aumenta a tela. Monitor principal. É isso, vamos se preparar, galera. Tá quase. Deixa eu tirar o som aqui do jogo que tá me incomodando. Pronto. Three, two, one. É, meu amigo, vai começar Vai começar.
Hey guys, how's it going? Perry in here.
Ué, não é o Chris?
And
Como
welcome
assim?
to Exilecon!
Como assim não é o Chris, cara?
Thank you all so much for joining us here in New Zealand. It's quite a journey. Thank you guys for joining us online. It's going to be a fantastic show. So you guys want to learn about what's coming up in Path of Exile? Oh, you do? Yeah, me too. Yeah. Well, before we get to the people that are best to deliver that information, before we get into Path of Exile's wonderful future, let's take a moment to go over all the wonderful things we have already experienced in Path of Exile. Let's take a moment to check out Path of Exile from the past.
Ó. Path of Exile antigo, como é que o jogo era em 2010? Olha isso, cara. Como é que o jogo era, mano? O jogo evoluiu muito, cara, de lá pra cá.
Life is fleeting.
A worthy opponent. Go with God. Death to sin. The touch of God. Bow to your queen, mortal. You there. Let me bend your hair for a moment. Why are you so in love with death?
Porque você ama tanto a morte.
Let me tell you.
Gaze into the abyss. What have you done? Ready, exile? It is time to hunt!
Let's make history.
Vamos indo, irmão, só vamos.
My cause fuels me.
Pô, tinha que ter como eu tirar essa aba daqui, hein? E aí, David? Estamos assistindo aqui a Exilecon, meu amigo. Começou agora. As notícias do Path of Exile, do próximo update enorme que vai vir. Vou bem, meu amigo. E hoje é um dia feliz com essa Exilecon.
To the grove, exile. A harvest awaits. This one should be rather legitimate. Does the toy wish to play?
Deixa eu abaixar um pouquinho o som. Update, Path of Exile, meu amigo, tá louco? Cada 3 meses tem uma temporada enorme nova. E eles finalmente vão anunciar a data do 2 e vão mostrar o 2 pra gente. Hoje é um dia, meu amigo, que vai marcar os próximos 3, 4 anos, cara. Calandra. Eu gostei, cara, do Calandra. Sanctum. Crucible, que é o novo agora, o último que saiu. Qual vai ser o próximo? Olha, Path of Exile 2, trailer do ato 1. Desculpem se eu não prestar muita atenção no chat, galera, que a gente tá vendo aqui. O ideal era eu ter fechado a stream, mas vamos ver aqui o evento juntos. Vamos ver se rola alguma coisa maneira aí. Olha. Cara, tá muito bonito, mano. O 2. Então, uma evolução enorme comparada ao atual 1. É um evento? Sim, é o evento do Path of Exile, que mostra as novidades que vão vir no jogo. É a Exilecon, é tipo um evento de games, só que é só da empresa dele. É um mega evento. Ó, o Chris aí, cara, é o careca. Grande Chris.
Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games.
Boa, tava esperando isso, rapaz. Hi, I'm Chris Wilson from Grinding Gear Games.
Welcome to Exilecon 2023.
Sejam bem-vindos a
It feels like
Exilecon
just yesterday that I was
2023.
here on stage at Exilecon 2019 announcing Path of Exile 2. Since then, we have worked tirelessly on the content we're going to show you this weekend. To everyone here in person, thank you so much for coming out.
Desculpem, galera, não tem como traduzir tudo, porque eles falam muito rápido. Eu só vou poder passar as coisas chaves. Então, desculpa para quem não entende inglês.
Our last Exilecon was a magical experience, and we've tried to go above and beyond in every way this time.
Cara, ele tá
If you're
animadíssimo,
tuning
hein?
in online to watch the live stream, thanks for joining us also. I wish you could all be with us here, but to ensure you have the full Exilecon experience, we have made sure to include every talk and session as part of the 2-day live stream this weekend.
Ok.
Twitch drops are enabled for the live stream, but if you're here in the audience, you'll automatically get them when you redeem the microtransaction code in your swag bag, so no need to stream it from your phones while you're watching. You'll also receive the attendee-only
Não precisa entrar na estreia do telefone. Quem tiver lá no
With so
evento
much
vai
to share
ganhar
with
os
you this
prêmios
weekend,
da
and let's
Twitch.
just get right into Path of Exile 2. I'd like to introduce Jonathan Rogers and Mark Roberts, game directors of Path of Exile 2.
Ok, ele tá chamando os diretores do Path of Exile 2 e vão falar agora do Path of Exile 2 já de cara. Vamos lá. Ele já vai mostrar tudo do Path of Exile 2 agora, já de início. Muito bom.
Hey guys. While Chris has been running Path of Exile 1, Mark and I and over 100 other developers have been hard at work on PoE 2.
Enquanto o Chris cuidava do Patch of Exile 1, nós e mais 100 pessoas cuidávamos do Patch of Exile
It's been
2.
almost 4 years since then, and so it's about time we showed you what we've been working on. Oh, hang on.
Não é um jogo, David, é um evento, cara. Eu tô assistindo.
When we announced Path of
Tá
Exile 2 at
perdido,
Exilecon
mano.
2019, we told you guys that we were releasing it as an expansion to PoE 1 and that both campaigns would be playable on the same game client with
Tá
a shared
perdidão,
endgame.
rapaz.
But PoE 2's scope has continued to grow, and it's far more than just an expansion with a new campaign. It is entirely new monsters, skills,
Ok, vai
mechanics,
ser uma
classes,
campanha nova, isso a gente
everything
já
you'd expect
sabia.
from the next generation of action RPGs. Not to mention revamps of most of the PoE 1 League content. This thing is just freaking huge. There was a point when we realized that our plan to replace PoE 1 with PoE 2 would essentially be getting rid of a game that people love for no real reason. So we made a decision. Path of Exile 1 and 2 will be separate with their own mechanics, balance, endgames, and leagues.
Eita,
But
eles
it's
vão
still a
separar
shared
o Patch of
platform.
Exile 1 e 2.
Your microtransactions are available across both games. Everything you have ever purchased or will ever purchase in the future will be usable in both games unless it's hyper-specific to the content of one of them.
What the fuck?
You can't transform into a bear in PoE 1, so a reskin of your bear form isn't going to work. But you absolutely can equip the awesome armor set that you got and use all your stash tabs. So with that in mind, we'd love to show you a live demo of some of the stuff we've been working on.
Peraí.
PoE 2 has come a long way. Mark here is going to man the PC.
O Patch of
Hopefully he
Exile
doesn't
2
die.
vai ser
It is a
um
live
jogo
gameplay demo after all.
separado do 1. Tudo que você tem no 1 vai passar pro 2 também. Mas se você não quiser ir pro 2, tu pode continuar no 1, que ele vai continuar como tá. Mas as coisas do 2, mecânica, balanceamento, patch, tudo vai ficar só no 2. Separado do 1. Interessante a escolha deles. Não entendi por que separaram, mas beleza.
After Oriath was destroyed, I traveled, searching for answers. Everywhere I went, the same divine devastation. It must end. I will end it. And no exile will stop me.
Essa é a Zana, não, né? Ranger, Duelista são as classes novas do 2 no caso. Ó, Templar, Marauder, Warrior, Huntress, Sorceress, Mercenário, Monge, Druida. Nossa. É, o 2 tá parecendo bem mais lento que um combate, pelo menos. Mas também parece bem mais brutal e visceral, mano. Olha isso. Krutog. Cara, tá bonito o Pet Pesare 2, hein? O bichinho tá lindo, mano. Datas, datas, queremos datas. Nó. Essa merda, mano. Nossa, 100 locais distintos, 600 monstros, 100 bosses, caralho. 1500 skills passivas, cara, isso é novo? 36 classes de ascendência, 240 habilidades ativas, 700 equipamento, olha aí a copa para 6 pessoas e muito mais, ok. Copa de 6 pessoas não é normal, não é? Não é? É, não é? Ou era 4? Não, era 6. Já era 6, não era? Não lembro agora, nunca tentei botar o máximo. C.A.S.T.V, ué. Caramba. Será que eles fizeram a passiva inteira só por 2, mano? Uma árvore passiva nova inteira? Caramba! Bruto.
Alright, Mark. Your turn now.
Não per nada.
We'd like to start off by showing you some of the gameplay of Act 3, one of the 6 acts in PoE 2's campaign. We're starting here.
Pô, o 2 vai ter 6 atos, eles vão mostrar o ato 3.
The ruins of the Vaal civilization, which fell thousands of years ago. Jungle has taken over their former once great cities, and we'll be exploring it using one of the 6 new character classes called the Monk.
Ele tá usando monge.
In PoE 1, we had one character class for each of the combinations of strength, dexterity, and intelligence. When looking at the design of PoE 2, though, we realized that many of the new skills that we were trying to design just didn't really fit thematically with the existing classes that we have. Being a spellcaster with a bear form makes sense for Strength Int, but it just doesn't really sound like something a Templar would do. We realized that since we had new mechanics for every attribute combination, it actually made sense to design a new character class to explore the new themes. In PoE 2, every attribute combination has 2 classes associated with it. Strength Int has the Templar or the Druid. On Dexterity, you have the Ranger or the more spare-focused Huntress. And on Dex Int, you have the Shadow and the Monk, which Mark is playing here. Each class has its own 3 ascendancies that let you
Cada duas combinações de atributo parece ter uma classe.
But they both start at the same location on the passive tree. The quest rewards you are offered on the 2 variants are tailored to the class, but of course, this is PoE. You can still mix and match anything to your heart's content.
Interessante, eles estão fazendo as classes serem baseadas em 2 atributos em vez de um só, no caso. Por causa da forma que eles fizeram as skills no Path of Exile 2.
Looks like we've come across the boss for this area. In PoE 2, every area of the campaign contains a boss of at least this difficulty. That's over 100 bosses to fight as you make your way through the campaign.
100 bosses na campanha, esse daí é um deles, no caso. A gente vai encontrar pelo menos uns 100 igual a esse. Lembrando, são 6 atos da campanha que ele confirmou ali.
Watching from Mark fighting here, you probably noticed that melee combat in PoE 2 is a very different feel than before. We've done a lot of things to add mobility to combat. Practically every melee skill in PoE 2 has some kind of movement built into it. But the Monk in particular is a melee fighter who specializes in mobility over brute strength.
Ok, o monge é uma classe que é mais focada em mobilidade do que força bruta. E todas as skills melee tem alguma forma de movimento nelas, pelo menos a maioria delas. Aquele foi loot automático?
So, as Mark has been playing, you might have noticed these blue markers over enemies. Mark has a skill equipped called Killing Palm. Whenever an enemy has a blue indicator over it, it means that the monster has low enough life to cull with Killing Palm. Successfully executing the cull will give you a power charge. This is an important skill for the monk, since many of his skills interact with power charges.
Essa marca azul é para indicar que ele pode dar cool no monstro, pode matar o monstro instantâneo, porque o monstro está com a vida baixa. O monstro trabalha com essa mecânica.
If you're accidentally targeting slightly off the monster, the skill will automatically lock on to the colorable target and it will even do a small amount of pathfinding around obstacles. We really want to make sure that when you've got an opportunity to use the skill, nothing is going to get in your way. Once you have some power charges, you're going to need some skills to power up. A great follow-up is Falling Thunder. Falling Thunder without a power charge just creates a relatively small lightning AoE in front of you. But if you do it with power charges, it turns into a pack clearer with a large number of extra projectiles.
Ok, as cargas você usa para dar buff nas suas skills, tipo aquela do raio que ele usou ali. Sem carga ela só faz esse campo pequeno.
You use it at a larger range and your character will move forward while executing it, getting you into position without any time penalty. In PoE 2 you also get a short period to redirect your target. Notice how you can start the skill facing one way, then whip the mouse sideways to land the skill in a different direction? Now, in order to get power charges, you're going to first need to get some lower life monsters into a colorable range. You've got a few options if you want to charge right in. Whirling Assault is great. It doesn't do much damage per hit, but it covers a lot of ground. And notice how you can turn as you do it?
Ele tá apresentando ali as skills.
You never lose control of your character in PoE 2. If you make a turn at the right time, you can get a couple of extra hits on the monsters, getting them in range of your cull.
Ele tá falando que as skills têm bastante mobilidade. Aquela ali do giro, se você girar o personagem na direção correta enquanto está fazendo a animação, tu pode adicionar mais alguns hits no monstro. Porque ela bate um movimento circular, quando passa o círculo do bicho é só tu girar o boneco para botar ele dentro do círculo de novo, do resto do ataque. Isso é interessante. Aí a alva.
One useful feature we've added is the ability to call in NPCs to where you are to give you more information.
Junta aí e assiste aqui comigo, meu amigo, a Exilecon.
In this case, we've called in Alva to find out what to do.
This mechanism, if powered with a small soul core, it could open that door. There should definitely be soul cores somewhere around here. They had to power these constructs somehow.
Eles mudaram como é que a Alva funciona?
As Alva just said, we need to find a small soul core to open this door. Let's explore.
Ué, eles mudaram a mecânica da Alva.
Without getting too close to some of the more dangerous monsters, a great option is Wind Blast. Wind Blast also doesn't do too much damage, but it keeps enemies back. The closer they are, the farther they're pushed back. So it's a great option for keeping smaller but higher damage enemies at bay. Note that the bigger the enemy is, the less they'll be pushed back. So trying to push back some giants isn't going to be as effective. And there's the soul core. Let's get back to the door.
Pegou o Soul Core, agora ele vai voltar lá na Alva. Vamos ver o que vai acontecer agora.
Consider me impressed. I'll keep investigating in here. Bring me in if you find anything else.
Tá, essa não é a mecânica da Alva, então. Ele vai usar as skills de gelo agora.
It's pretty ineffective against fast-moving monsters because most of the damage occurs right at the end of the wave, and so a lot of monsters will just walk right by it. But if you can find a way to make a monster stop at just the right place, it can be very effective.
A maior parte do dano dela é no final dela. Ela é ruim contra monstros rápidos.
A fairly simple option is to get right in the monster's face with
legal.
Ice Strike. Ice Strike doesn't do too much damage at the first two hits, but attack 3 times in sequence and you can get off a combo that has a much higher chance to freeze.
Ele pode congelar os monstros e estilhaçar com outra skill.
Finish the job with Glacial Cascade.
Muito bom.
Now, remember how Glacial Cascade is that extra damaging spike at the end? If you hit a frozen enemy with that spike, it shatters the ice on the enemy and does a devastating amount of damage. This is a really great combo against bosses, as you'll see later. Oh yeah, and I've just been casually mentioning rolling around. Did I forget to mention that in PoE 2 we added a dodge roll to every character? Just press spacebar at any time to roll.
Olha, qualquer personagem pode apertar a barra de espaço para rolar.
There's no cooldown and no limitations.
Não tem cooldown e não tem limite. Tu pode usar à vontade. E também tem Pathfind para você não ficar preso em nada. Menos nisso.
When you dodge roll, you're not invulnerable. If something hits you, you're going to feel it, but most things aren't going to hit you. And that's because while you're rolling, projectiles and melee strikes will always miss. You'll have to roll out of the way of a slam that has AoE, but anyone swinging a sword or throwing a fireball is going to miss.
Enquanto você está rolando, as coisas aí erram você.
Cancel out of any skill at any time. This makes it so you don't feel like you're getting stuck during a long animation when something's about to hit you. It really changes how skills with longer attack and pastimes play.
Você pode cancelar as skills dando rolar. Se você vê que o inimigo vai atacar no meio de uma skill, tu pode rolar para cancelar a skill.
So it makes sense that it would have some more. Wave of Frost is one of our new attacks with a retreat built right in. You move backwards and throw out a cold attack with a significant freeze. A great thing about this is that it puts you
Rework não, Patch of Exile 2.
Glacial Cascade and do a whole pile of damage.
Nice. Finalmente, cara, deram data. Não, vão dar a data finalmente. Depois de uns 4 anos falando sobre, eles estão mostrando o jogo. O jogo já está pronto. Agora é só a data de lançamento agora. E já eles vão mostrar a expansão do mês que vem. Daqui 1 ou 2 semanas vai sair a expansão nova.
Another skill you can use to get some extra freeze is Shattering Palm. Shattering Palm is a palm strike that puts a small ice bomb on the target. Kill or deal enough damage to the target and the bomb will explode, doing some damage and a significant freeze. It's a great option against bosses where the wave of ice might not be enough to get.
Essa daí é uma das classes novas, o monge e a arma nova, o cajado. Na real, o cajado já existia, né? Eu não sei se isso é considerado arma nova. Falei besteira, mas é o monge essa classe.
The final skill we're going to show you today is Flicker Strike. It's a monk skill and another skill that consumes power charges.
Ele vai mostrar o Flicker Strike. Essa daí já existia no Patch of Exile 1.
If you've played PoE 1 before, you know what to expect.
É, tá igual o Patch of Exile 1, acho que. Tá igual a original.
For tough boss fights, if you were able to get some power charges beforehand.
Lembra as skills de gelo do God of War Ragnarok, nice. É, o Patch of Exile 2 tá polido pra caramba, mano. Eles já estão trabalhando nele há uns 4, 5 anos já. Lembrando que o Patch of Exile 2 é o Patch of Exile ainda, só que eles refizeram a engine do jogo, refizeram o jogo todo do chão. Basicamente é um remake do jogo inteiro, pra melhorar o código dele, pra deixar mais moderno. Aí com isso eles melhoraram também o gráfico, melhoraram tudo.
Here we have Blackjaw, former overseer of the Mechanarium. When the Val fell, he was
segundo boss.
and now guards the area. In order to take down this boss, we're going to need all the tools on the monk's arsenal, especially the combo of Freeze and Glacial Cascade. Now, if you're a PoE 1 player, you might think you can't rely on Freeze because there's so many bosses that are immune to it. But in PoE 2, that's changing significantly. In PoE 1, Freeze is a binary mechanic. An attack freezes the target, or it doesn't. What this basically means is that in PoE 1, we were forced to add freeze immunity to many bosses because freeze just trivialized them. Because of that, freezing was something you could only really rely on while pack clearing, and not something you could use as a core part of your build for boss fighting. In PoE 2 though, all crowd control mechanics now have internal meters that allow you to build up to a freeze or stun, or whatever other CC mechanic that you're using. It's a little bit like poise from games like Elden Ring, though the meters tend to be a lot smaller than those.
Ele tá explicando que eles mudaram a mecânica de congelamento. No Patch of Exile 1 geralmente a gente não congela boss, porque o gelo ou você congela ou você não congela. A chance é essa, e o boss geralmente são imunes. No Patch of Exile 2 tem uma barrinha de congelamento que vai enchendo. Quando você enche a barra, o bicho congela. Então mesmo que o bicho tenha bastante resistência, é só tu ficar insistindo que uma hora a barrinha enche. Só vai encher mais devagar. Então é viável você tentar congelar um boss. No Patch of Exile 2 você conseguiria. Que é o que está acontecendo ali, o boss vai ficando mais lento com o tempo. Até ele congelar. Lembrando que no Patch of Exile 2 o jogo, eles querem deixar o jogo um pouco mais lento, só que mais difícil, muito mais difícil. Por isso que o boss tem bastante vida e o jogo tá assim um pouquinho mais devagar que o normal, que a gente tá acostumado. Lembrando que isso aí ele tá na campanha 3 ainda, no mapa No mapa 3 não, no ato 3 da campanha, são 6. Ele tá na metade da campanha ainda. Nossa, morreu? Como assim, cara? Como tu morreu, cara? Porra. Nossa.
Alright. Let's take 2.
Take 2. Segunda tentativa.
That in PoE 2, if you die to the boss, you have
Lembrando, galera, isso daí é o jogo, tá? O cara tá jogando ali, ó, no notebook. Isso aí não é vídeo que eles estão passando, não. É o cara jogando, né? Enquanto o outro comenta, no caso. O jogo crashou.
Alright, we good?
O jogo crashou.
Back to the stream. Alright.
Ah, cara, vai, mano, esse jogo, quando o jogo sair, vai ser uma delícia, viu?
Whoever balanced that, like, come on.
Ah, já tô vendo meu jogo crashando um monte de vezes. Tá lá, segunda tentativa. Galera ali no chat falando pra ele Git good 0 DPS. A concentração do maluco. Cara, eu tô gostando, mano, do que eu tô vendo. Se ele perder, ele é demitido agora. É, meu amigo, ele é o diretor, tá? São os 2 diretores do Path of Exile 2. Pra quem não sabe, o Path of Exile tem recebido atualização pra caramba, mas metade da staff dele estava trabalhando do Path of Exile 2, tá? Junto com o Path of Exile 1. Tipo, eles separaram 102 pessoas e botaram na equipe do Path of Exile 2, há 4 anos já. Então a equipe que estava trabalhando no Path of Exile 1 pra gente, não era a equipe toda. Era só uma parte dela. Uma parte bem grande, né, na real. Eu acho que eles têm umas 400 ou 500 pessoas trabalhando com eles. Não sei agora quantas pessoas tem na GGG. Sei que é gente pra caramba que eles têm. O cara desesperado congelou o boss e correu com medo de levar a porrada. Burrão. Olha lá ele fugindo, o bicho congelado dele fugindo. Ih, levou. Levou no rabito. Lembrando, galera, que eles falaram, a gente vai encontrar uns 100 desses aí na campanha, 100 bosses. Esse é só o segundo que a gente tá vendo. Olha isso. Ele não é game jornalista, cara.
Give me a break. Come on. Oh, hey. Go.
Freeze.
Eita, quase morreu. Burro. Pra caramba. Oh shit! Jesus Christ!
Come on.
Eu acho legal, mano, os devs do Path of Exile, porque eles gostam, cara, do jogo que eles fazem, mano. Eles mostram que eles gostam do próprio jogo, sabe?
Alright, second time's the charm. So, Black Draw has dropped a consumable quest item here called the Flame Core. It's a permanent +10 to Spirit. In PoE 2, we really want to make sure that you feel rewarded for exploration. It wouldn't be much good if we made all these awesome optional bosses if we didn't have something great to find for killing them. One of the things you might find for killing a boss is permanent stat bonuses for your character.
I wonder what Spirit does.
Alright, now because this random area is different, Mark will have to find his way to the exit the hard
O
way.
salário não vai diminuir mais.
If I died, this is no longer rehearsed at all.
Vai vendo.
Alright.
Tá bonito, cara. O jogo tá bonito pra caralho, mano.
Face your demise.
Mano, cara, ó atenção ao detalhe, mano. O bicho de pedra. Cada vez que ele dá uma porrada, o braço dá tremida, assim, como se ele não tivesse preso no lugar. Parece mesmo que ele tá batendo na rocha. Eles têm muito cuidado com essas paradas, mano. Olha lá. A forma que o bicho se mexe. Todo travadão. Mano, é muito bem feito, cara.
Killing palms more often, Mark.
Se bobear, até o barulho é diferente dos golpes. Ih, morreu. Quase.
My poor heart.
Lightning strike.
Meu pobre coração.
I think you got completely lost there.
I have no idea where I am.
All right. Yeah, there we go. All right, here we are. Here's the exit.
I'm going to die to these sentinels somehow.
All right. Let's go right through. All right. All right. In order to help with the next area, we're going to call in a sorceress. I'd like to welcome Octavian to the stage, who's going to join the party with Mark, so they can play through together. All right, 1 second. All right. Here we go. All right. The sorceress is the new intelligence-focused character in PoE 2. While the witch focuses more on occult magic and summoning, the sorceress is themed around pure elemental destruction. Let's have a
Agora ele
look
vai
at how she
fazer o
plays.
feiticeiro.
This is the largest soul core I've ever seen. With this, we could power the canal systems. But it isn't charged.
Agora o feiticeiro, galera, é o sorcerer.
There is still latent energy in this machinarium from its ancient operation. These lines in the stonework should lead to generators. You might need to find some more soul cores to spin them up, but everything looks to be in surprisingly decent condition. Maybe the golems have been maintaining it. In any case, it should still function. We'll have to remove that large core from the wall, of course, but that shouldn't be a problem.
We have some skills here you're probably going to recognize if you've played PoE 1 before, but they feel a bit different now. Spark is great in these tight passages.
Nossa, o
It bounces
Spark,
around.
como é que ficou?
We've added a Pierce support gem to really allow it to hit an entire room full of targets. For a more single target focused skill, Arc is a great choice. It does much more damage in the first target that you hit.
Meu Deus, tu vai
Now,
gostar.
if you find yourself
Gostar.
surrounded, it might be a good idea to use Ice Nova.
Essa porra.
It hits all enemies around you and slows them down with a chill.
Caralho, mano, Spark, velho, como é que ficou?
Isn't the ideal place for a sorceress
Muito
to
bom.
be. She doesn't
Tava
have
falando
the
aqui pro
more
Liber que ele vai
defenses
gostar do
of a more
Spark novo.
melee-oriented character.
Ele adora usar essa skill aí.
In order to help with that, though, you could use Arctic Armor. In PoE 2, Arctic Armor is a buff that builds up as you stand still. You can see the ice crystals forming around the character.
Não gostei dessa mudança da arma ártica. Armadura ártica. Ela agora é um passivo, tu fica parado, aí vai montando ela.
Just be careful. You have to be standing still for a little while to get the full effect, so trying to stutter step using it isn't the best strategy.
Não gostei disso não, dessa mudança não.
Now, Arctic Armor is an ongoing buff, but did you notice it didn't reserve any mana? How does that work? Well, we were pretty sick of the fact that in PoE 1, basically every character was playing with no mana pool, so we decided to change the way that reservation works. In PoE 2, there's a new resource called Spirit. Spirit is a dedicated resource that you can use for ongoing effects like Arctic Armor, Heralds, Auras, and Minions.
Nossa, vai tomar no cu. Meu Deus.
Everyone starts with 100 Spirit, which is enough for most ongoing effects. But if you want more,
Cara,
you're going to need to get some more Spirit, which is available on mods from items and on
peraí,
the
gente.
tree.
Calma aí.
But if you're willing to go up your offhand slot, the easiest way to get it is by holding a scepter. Find out more about that in the items talk later on. Now, if you want to increase the cold
Nossa.
damage that you're dealing, you can always use Frost Bomb. It places a bomb on
Ok,
the ground that reduces
seguinte.
enemies' cold resistance.
No
while
Patch of
it's heating
Exile, quando a gente quer botar uma aura ou algo do tipo,
It's a great opportunity to use
a
some
gente
cold skills
reserva
before it
uma
explodes.
porcentagem da nossa mana
And
para
speaking of
poder
cold skills,
manter a
the
aura
best skill to use
ativa.
on monsters with lower cold
Tipo,
resistance is
20% da
Comet.
mana, 30% da mana. Aí o que a galera faz? Como a aura é forte, a gente tem mania de usar a habilidade, uma habilidade ativa que não usa muita mana e reserva 90% da nossa mana em buff, em aura, buff e essas paradas, para deixar o boneco bem forte. Considerando isso, que o pessoal sempre faz isso, porque as skills ficava pegando a mana, né? Ficava reservando a mana, tu não tinha acesso a ela. Agora tem um atributo novo chamado Espírito. Tu usa Espírito para poder ativar essas auras agora. Então a mana é uma coisa agora à parte. Tu precisa de Espírito se tu quiser botar a aura ativa e tal. Eles mudaram esse esquema agora. Isso é muito bom e também é muito ruim. Todo staff vem com uma skill embutida nele.
Just put it on and spam away to your heart's content. Now this particular staff is the base type that you'll get right on the starting beach, so it's quite likely that you'll have outgrown it by now. So that's why we've also made a lot of staves with more utility-focused powers for casters to use. Here we have a crystal staff. It has a pretty cool built-in spell called Unleash. Using it slams your staff on the ground and will allow you to triple cast whatever you cast with your next spell. Now, of course, what you're probably going to want to use with that is something powerful, and Comet is a great option.
Olha, quando ele ativa o staff, essa habilidade Unleash que tá no staff dele, faz a próxima skill dele ser jogada 3 vezes. Aí ele tacou no meteoro.
But it does make sense for Unleash since it's free to cast, and it's something we want you to use situationally anyway. Now, if you're facing something tough, you might need to try out Mana Tempest. Mana Tempest creates a circle of power which literally hovers over the ground. While in the circle, your mana drains, but it powers up all your spells. Lightning projectiles will fork, beams will chain further, and you also do a lot more damage.
O boneco fica flutuando enquanto está dentro do bagulho de mana e aumenta o dano dele todo. A velocidade que ele joga a magia, o dano, regeneração de mana, etc. Regeneração de mana? Acho que sim. Aí o boneco fica flutuando enquanto está dentro do campo ali que ele lança. Isso é tudo habilidade nova. Isso aí não tem no 1 não. Todo cajado agora vem com a magia embutida.
So, with all of these skills, here's a great combo to try. First, cast Frost Bomb to reduce the target's cold resistance. Then use Mana Tempest to increase your damage. Follow up with Unleash, and then triple cast Comet to do a truly insane amount of damage.
Ele está mostrando os combos de habilidade que ele usa. Que as habilidades ele usa algumas para diminuir a defesa do bicho e depois completa com o meteoro. Com a passiva do cajado que faz o meteoro cair 3 vezes. Para dar um dano absurdo.
These ghosts.
Yeah.
Whose fault is that?
This rare monster has dropped an uncut gem. And that's a great opportunity to talk about how skill gems drop in PoE 2. Instead of dropping specific gems, you can find uncut gems. Just right-click on them and pick whatever skill you want.
Uau!
Ignore the, whoops.
Aqui, as gemas de habilidade agora cai genérica, aí você aperta com o botão direito nela e pode escolher a habilidade que tu quiser.
So it's a lot
Que
easier to
foda.
change between skills in PoE 2. This time, I think it might be cool to grab one of our meta gems. Meta gems are skills that can have other skills socketed into them, changing how they work. In this case, we're going to select Cast on Shock. Now, let's equip this thing in the skill screen and choose which spell to trigger with it. I think Comet might be fun. Now, because Cast on Shock reserves Spirit, we'll need to first disable our Arctic Armor. We have to decide if we'd rather have the extra defense or the extra offense of the Cast on Shock using our Spark. In PoE 2, trigger gems use a system of filling up cast time on each trigger. Basically, if a skill has a short cast time, it will trigger really often. And if it has a long cast time, like this Comet here, it will take a lot longer to trigger. You can see on the top left corner...
Tu não joga Pet apesar ele, né, Dark? Infelizmente eu quase não jogo Pet of Exile na stream, então a galera conhece bem pouco dele, meu público. Apesar que tem uma parte do público que joga também. Eu tenho que voltar a jogar Pet of Exile. Eu só tô esperando, cara, sair a próxima temporada e o 2.
So, we found the generator. Time to power it up.
Ligou o gerador. Ah, eles vão anunciar o do celular nessa conferência também, mano. Eu só não sei se o do celular vai compartilhar o jogo com o PC ou não.
That's pretty inefficient, right? It's a big no-no for most builds because any specialization into cold or lightning isn't going to affect the other element. And generic elemental damage increases are not going to be as powerful as focusing on a single element. Well, in PoE 2 we have another major new system to introduce to solve these kinds of problems. And it starts, oddly enough, with weapon swap. Now, in PoE 1, weapon swap isn't really used much for its originally intended purpose. We imagine that people were going to be swapping in and out between different weapons to deal with whatever situation they were in. People just don't do that at all. And a large reason for that is because it's really, really awkward. In PoE 2, we wanted to solve all of that. The staff Octavian is using here has an ice mod on it that makes it great for when he's using his ice spells. But we would also like to be able to make sure that this build works just as well for his lightning spells. If Octavian equips his previous staff in his second weapon set, you can see that it appears on the character's back. Now, we're going to open up the skill screen. If Octavian opens the skill options for his lightning skills, you can see here that you can choose which weapon sets are usable with each skill. First, we uncheck set 1 from being used by his lightning skills. Then we go through the cold skills and turn those off with his lightning
Nem
weapon.
fodendo que eles fizeram isso.
Just take a second.
O boneco vai trocar sozinho de arma.
Yeah.
Ele tá escolhendo
when we
qual.
use Spark, the character will automatically switch to the lightning staff on his back and then use the skill.
Nossa!
And when Octavian uses his Ice Nova, his character automatically switches to his Ice Staff before using it.
Caralho, galera. Ele no Pet of Exile a gente tem um sistema que a gente pode botar dois sets de armas, o set 1 e o set 2. Só que tu tem que trocar manual. Esse sistema novo que ele acabou de mostrar, tu pode escolher na habilidade com qual arma tu quer que o boneco lance a habilidade. Ou o boneco troca sozinho quando você manda ele usar.
Well, in PoE 2 you can. Hopefully Mark can deal with those monsters while we do this demo. So, we're on the passive skill screen here, and you can see that we are close to both a cold and a lightning cluster. At the top right of the screen, you can see that we have some weapon set specific points to
Nossa,
allocate.
passiva pra cada
If
arma.
Octavian holds shift, he can allocate set 1 to the cold passives, and then allocate set 2 to the lightning passives.
Nossa, dois sets de passiva. Caralho, mano.
Check it out. As we use our weapon swap, the skills allocate changes from one build to the other automatically.
Caralho.
So, whenever we cast the appropriate spell, the character's passives reconfigure on the fly to the correct build for that spell.
As passivas também são por set de arma. Quando você muda a arma, ele troca as passivas sozinho.
Only points granted from skill books will allow this kind of dual specialization.
Mano, isso é absurdo, Dark.
From a mace slamming warrior into a fire elementalist with the press of a button, but it certainly increases the number of options you have for builds. There's a huge number of places where the system can shine. You can augment your dagger shadow build with traps, or have a great curse set up on your witch with one spec, and then move to your chaos debuff spells with the other, for example. It really opens up your options.
Isso é muito absurdo.
Now, another fun metagame
Diablo 4 morreu,
barrier
cara.
invocation.
Morreu o Diablo 4. Diablo
This
4
works a
pra
little
quê?
bit like the trigger gems I talked about before, but this one charges up as your energy shield is hit by monsters. We're going to put an Ice Nova in this one. The more energy shield you lose, the more charge builds up. We'll just get that one equipped there. Yep. So yeah, the more energy shield you lose, the more charge will build up until the point you're able to cast the socketed skill instantly. There we go. So you lose some energy shield, and at just the right time, invoke Ice Nova to cast all the stacked up copies in one instant cast. If you keep losing shield, you'll build up even more charge for even more casts. So it's a great defensive option in an emergency.
Legal. Conforme ele vai perdendo escudo de energia, ele vai ganhando carga pra soltar a magia que ele botou lá na passiva. Eu só não entendi se ele solta automático. Acho que não, acho que é o cara que tem que mandar a spell ainda. Porque ele pode acumular mais de uma carga. Mas o importante é que é de graça que ele lança. E ele lança todas as que tiver ligada no escudo.
All we have to do now is take it.
Just take it.
Imagina eles lançam despertar da sua classe. Oxe. Eita, era um bicho. Mais um boss. Olha os boss, mano, desse jogo. Esse é o terceiro boss já que a gente tá vendo de 100.
Frozen? Nice.
Caralho, mas então, basicamente, cada set de arma que tu tem, tu pode ter 2 sets de arma. Pra cada set de arma, tu pode botar passiva diferente e habilidades diferentes neles. Ah, mas o que que isso muda então? A árvore de passiva são as habilidades do teu personagem. É basicamente o que monta o seu personagem. Tipo, tu é um mago de raio. Na tuas passivas, tu vai ficar botando dano elétrico. Mas você podendo ter um segundo set de passiva, tu pode fazer o primeiro set ser focado em dano elétrico e o segundo set ser focado só em dano de fogo. Ou então o segundo set ser focado em coisa de defesa, coisa defensiva, sabe? Aí você pode ficar alternando entre os dois no meio da luta, sem treta. Na real, o boneco troca automático pra você quando você lançar as habilidades relevantes. Você tá inventando moda aí, Dark, você nem sabe se o jogo já tem isso, cara. Não, nada de cópia de outro jogo não, irmão. Mas o Path of Exile tem uma parada dessa sim. Eu só não sei se o 2, as classes do 2 vai ter ascendência. O Path of Exile tem ascendência também. É umas passivas que só a tua classe específica tem. E deixa a tua classe forte pra caramba. Mas tu tem que fazer um desafio pra poder conseguir pegar. É chatinho fazer esses desafios.
So that's Path of Exile 2. These areas, as well as around half of each of the first 4 acts, are available to play at the 3 demo zones around Exilecon. Now, if you're physically here at this event and you get to play the demo, just remember, it's a different game than before. It's a lot harder. You're probably going to run the first pack of monsters and just die. I really recommend you read the signs. They have good advice on how to combine your skills effectively, and remember, dodge rolls on spacebar, use it. You're just going to die otherwise. So your next question is likely to be,
Ele falando pra quem for testar o demo do Patch of Exile 2.
And we're still finishing acts, adding skills and balancing everything. The closed beta is going to start on June 7th, 2024. Exile 2 has been a long time coming, and we're incredibly excited to be near the finish line, but we're just not quite there yet. We're determined not to rush this and make sure we get everything right. In the meantime, there's a lot in store for PoE 1. I'll hand back over to Chris, and he's going to talk about what's coming
Só em junho de 2024, não. Um ano, cara. 9 meses de aguardo, de espera, não. Não. Não, na real 11, né? 11 meses de espera, não. Vai demorar muito.
So, that demo is very hard for them to do in person. Like, I am very impressed it went that well. So, as Jonathan explained, Path of Exile 1 will continue to be its own unique game once Path of Exile 2 comes out. We will continue to update it with expansions and leagues going forward. And because accounts and microtransactions are shared between the two games, and their expansion releases are offset from each other, it's super easy to jump between them and effectively play both if you want. So I'm going off script for a second here and just going to explain this a bit better.
Pegar top 1 no Patch of Exile 2, duvido também, cara. Tem muito viciado que joga isso. Eu chego nem perto, mano.
You know, some hardcore players play for the first few weeks, some people play for most of the time. We're going to aim a Path of Exile 1 expansion to come out towards the end of that cycle, say 4 or 5 weeks from the end, which also lasts for 3 months. So because Path of Exile 2 has more content and is a significantly larger game, it will mean that you can play Path of Exile 2 for the majority of the cycle, and then either keep playing if you want to keep playing Path of Exile 2, or jump into Path of Exile 1 when its league launches and enjoy that, either for the entire period or until the next Path of Exile 2 one comes out. And of course, because your purchases are shared, if you were to buy supporter packs or microtransactions in either, they're just available on your characters in the other. Speaking of Path of Exile 1 expansions, we've got one coming out in just 3 weeks, on August 18th. Let's watch the trailer for Path of Exile, Trial of the Ancestors.
Essa é a expansão que vai vir, galera, daqui 3 semanas, dia 18 de agosto.
They thirst for battle. They yearn to prove themselves.
Season 9.
Welcome to the halls of the dead. Earn your place among us.
Por que eu quero ter o meu lugar entre eles?
Test your mettle against the greatest warriors who ever lived.
Essa daí, no caso, é a temporada nova que vai ter. É uma arena com NPCs? Ah, sei lá, tô achando bem simplesão. Ué, que é? Pera aí. Isso aí tá parecendo aqueles Auto Battle, o C.A.S.T.V Battle, sei lá. What? Não acredito, pior que é isso mesmo, é Auto Battle. What the fuck? Hã? Que? Tatuagens de skill passiva? Que? Novos itens? Peraí. O que? Mais modificação passiva?
In the end, only one can become champion.
Cara, eu gostei das mecânicas que vão vir, mas eu não gostei do bagulho em si, não. A temporada em si parece bem meme.
In the Kurui Afterlife, the fallen chieftains of each tribe participate in a tournament called the Trial of the Ancestors. You will journey to the afterlife, assemble your own team, and enter the tournament to battle those chieftains and earn valuable rewards. As you play through areas in the Ancestor Challenge League, you'll find tradable silver coins. Using them will take you to the Kurui Afterlife, where you will encounter Navali, who you may remember from the Prophecy League. Each coin allows you to play a match of the tournament.
Pode
You
ganhar
start
moeda
the
e pode
tournament with
jogar
a
um
basic team
torneio.
consisting of 3 warriors. The tournament is double elimination, meaning you're allowed
Monta
to have one
time.
loss without consequence. A second loss eliminates you from the tournament. Your team will compete against 10 other tribes, and you choose who you're going to challenge next out of the teams left in the tournament.
Tu tem que
When you
derrotar
start a
10
match, you
times
see the configuration of the
da
enemy
campanha
team
ali.
and get to place your team of warriors on the battlefield to challenge theirs. You and your party of exiles will play alongside your warriors. So while this league does have many elements of an auto-battler, you're right there fighting alongside them. During a match, when a warrior dies, they respawn at their totem after a short time. If their totem is destroyed, then they are instantly killed and can't respawn. The team that destroys all of the opposing totems wins. If you're playing a hardcore character though, don't worry. Hinokora, the goddess of death, is watching over you and will restore your soul to your body, so you can't permanently die in the afterlife.
Você não pode morrer na outra vida.
In the Trial of the Ancestors, strategy and tactics are key. Every unit has its own strengths and weaknesses that must be utilized to win matches. The turtle is really slow and really tanky. It's perfect for either defensive positioning to stop flankers or offensive positioning to tank hits for you if you're pushing through the middle. It's
Basicamente é um auto-chess.
flank positions due to its slow movement
Tu
speed.
tem grupo de 3 guerreiros e luta junto com eles contra os outros
unit,
times.
which is relatively well balanced for all positions. This version of the Tuatara has a stealth ability, which makes it perfect for the flanking position to sneak through enemy defenses and take out unprotected totems from the side. The Goliath of Night is a disruptor unit, and it's ideally placed in a center position to intercept enemies that are chasing you. You can also allocate it to defenses so that it disrupts enemies that are trying to kill your totems by stunning them. So in this match here, we've set up a Tuatara in a flanking position, a turtle on defense to guard our totems, and a Goliath to follow us as we attack up the middle. Our plan is to work with the Goliath to distract the enemy front line so the flanking Tuatara can get through and destroy some of their totems.
A ideia do jogo é você ir até o totem inimigo e destruir o totem deles, para eles não poderem reviver e evitar que eles destruam de vocês.
Teamwork. Upon winning a match, you earn favor and other rewards. I'll talk about the other rewards shortly, there are a lot. You have a separate amount of favor with each tribe, and you can spend it by talking to their chieftain to recruit warriors and purchase field items and equipment that your team can use. Each tribe has specific specialities. For example, Hinokora's tribe manipulates life and death. Rongo Kurai's tribe is slow and tanky, with an emphasis on stuns and knockbacks. You can recruit warriors from many different tribes and mix and match them together into your team based on what you need.
Os guerreiros que você vai receber vão ser aleatório para você montar seu time.
And can be activated during the match to, for example, revive a warrior or heal your entire team. If a field item isn't consumed within a match, it persists on to the next match. But your warriors, their equipment, and your field items are all wiped between tournaments. You enter each tournament fresh. Your success in a tournament updates your overall ranking, which helps you in better rewards and subsequent ones. Speaking of rewards, let's discuss the good part, what you can earn for succeeding at the Trial of the Ancestors. You can tell this gets me excited. Okay.
E o que você
you
pode
get a
ganhar
reward as you win each round of the tournament, and these rewards are visible when you're selecting which tribe you want to play against. They'll help inform your decision, as some of them are regular rewards and some of them are exclusive new rewards you can only get from the Trial of the Ancestors. I'm literally tripping over my words to get to the part where I can explain tattoos. Okay. The Ancestors reward you with special tattoos that are not applied to your skin, but they're engraved on your soul. This process can transform all your attribute skills on the passive tree do, basically the attribute highway nodes generally. The regular ones can only be applied to basic attribute skills and allow you to convert your tree's attribute highways into something more useful for you. For example, this one converts a small dexterity skill into movement speed. Each tribe has its own exclusive passive tattoos. This tattoo converts a small strength skill into additional fire resistance.
Isso aí você pode usar para modificar a tua passiva pequena.
Additional lightning damage. And this one converts a small strength skill into one that summons a minion when you take a savage hit from a unique enemy. But don't go overboard on the number of skills you convert with tattoos, as you'll probably need at least some of your attributes left to equip items. Each of the 10 tribes has an exclusive unique item that you can earn. These rarely show up as rewards for defeating that tribe in a match. Katava's Hunger is a unique majestic place that you can earn by defeating the Katava tribe. As you can see, it grants an immense amount of life for a single item, providing you don't have any life on any other pieces of your equipment. While this is tricky to accomplish, it also frees up all those other potential life slots to be something else that benefits your build, making it pure upside. This amulet is a unique item you can earn by defeating the Arohongui tribe. It has the powerful effect of causing your flasks to instantly recover life and mana whenever you're low. This could potentially be a powerful panic button, or maybe you want to build around permanently being on low life or mana so all of your flask usage is instant. If you manage to win the entire tournament, you'll not only receive the reward for the final match, but Hinokora will also give you a choice of 3 additional... button didn't work. Of 3 additional exclusive items. Let's have a look at some of the things you may be offered. First up, there are 4 unique items that exclusively come from Hinokora for completing the tournament. This belt, for example, lists a plethora of really powerful properties, both beneficial and detrimental. While you're wearing the belt, the property shifts around every 5 seconds. You never know what's going to happen next. Will you always crit, always evade, never evade?
O item assim é
Maybe you're able to
complicado. Te
find
dá
some ways to
atributo
build around the
aleatório.
detrimental effects to create as much upside as possible. Hinokora also has a selection of special, more advanced passive tree tattoos that you can only receive from her. This one transforms a 30 intelligence notable attribute skill into one that increases the level of all of your intelligence gems.
Uau, uma tatu notável por
The specific
atributo.
attribute combination tattoo on a tree. Hinokora can also
Cara, isso é
award
bom
you
pra
with a new
caralho.
type of item called an omen. These are small items that sit in your inventory until a condition is met, at which point they are consumed and something happens. In this case, when you reach 25% life, your flasks are all replenished. Now don't worry, each player can only consume 1 omen per combat area, so you don't have any reason to fill your entire inventory with them. This one creates a portal on death. We made it for me. It won't try to save your life, but it will save you some time.
Quando você morrer, cria um portal pra
Soul
cidade.
Eater when you level up. It's
Pra tu
definitely
poder
worth
voltar.
carrying around for that occasional massive power boost. Omens are tradable but hard to get, so use them carefully. I shudder to think about how much this one is going to be worth in the presence of those incredibly rare
Wow.
unique weapons from 320. Now note, going off script again here,
Cara, isso é muito
back in the
roubado.
day, when we had stuff like the Prophecy and so on that let you upgrade to rare forcibly on a specific base type, we had to block the good items by putting crap uniques on the, sorry, I meant upgrade to unique. We put crap uniques on that base type so that you couldn't get it every time. Well, we stopped doing that, so a lot of the uniques that were
Isso daí
upgraded
tá
on
muito roubado,
320
mano.
are just the only thing on the base type. So items like this let you deterministically get something quite valuable, hence they are quite
Monte de
rare.
gente vai andar com Red Hunter
The most
nessa outra
exciting one,
agora.
though. Finally, Hinokora can offer you a lock of her hair. This is a very special currency item that lets you foresee the result of using another currency item to craft something.
Eita.
This means, for example, you can know whether it's worth exalting your item because you'll know exactly what the outcome is. Hinokora's lock will slot into your crafting pipeline with powerful consequences. The Trial of the Ancestors offers a wide selection of valuable new rewards as you complete matches and tournaments. We really look forward to seeing what strategies you develop for building, equipping, carefully placing, and playing alongside your tribe. So that's the new Challenge League, but Path of Exile expansions contain more than just a new league every 3 months. In each update, we also augment Path of Exile's endgame and shift the metagame with new gems and balance changes. This expansion is no exception. I'm going to explain the other changes in a medium amount of detail. I'm conscious that we have both new and existing players. For new players, I'm going to try to include some extra content to help make the changes more understandable. You can find out all the detail in the patch notes and other information we'll be posting in the few weeks before release. Let's start with how the Trial of the Ancestors expansion expands Path of Exile's endgame. In December last year, we released an expansion called The Forbidden Sanctum, which introduced the Sanctum Challenge League. This league was a roguelike game set within Path of Exile where you would randomly explore a randomly generated sanctum 1 room at a time, alongside your regular play. You'd pick which rooms you wanted to explore out of several options and accumulate beneficial boons and detrimental afflictions that made your run easier and harder, respectively. Not only did Sanctum work really well as a league, but it also had the potential to be added to Path of Exile as part of its core endgame content, alongside systems like mapping, delve, and heist. Well, in this expansion, the Forbidden Sanctum is back.
Nossa.
I've really been looking forward to this one. We're reintroducing the Sanctum as core content in Path of Exile's endgame.
Sanctum
You'll
virou core.
initially meet Divinia, the Sanctum NPC, in Act 10. Sanctums are now tradable items that you can find while playing maps in the endgame. A forbidden tome represents a whole floor of the Sanctum, and its rooms can be played back to back, or you can take breaks between them and do something else if you choose. Upon successfully completing that Sanctum floor, the next floor is generated as a tradable item with all of the state of your Sanctum run built in. This means that the item stores what boons and afflictions you had, what rewards you've locked in, and how much resolve you have left. You can then either play this floor or trade it to someone else if it feels more beneficial. For example, let's say you manage to lock in a really valuable reward. The example here is a Mirror of Calandra, but you'll also notice that... Do I have a laser pointer? It doesn't work on the board. Okay, 1 resolve. This is an example here where the player has a very good reward locked in, but a massive pile of dangerous afflictions and only 1 resolve on them. If you don't feel capable of completing the rest of the Sanctum from this point, then it would normally be a write-off, right? If you gave this to me, no way am I getting that mirror. But you can now trade the Sanctum state to someone else who is willing to pay for the chance to earn the mirror, or lose it. And you can look at expected value in economics, right? It's worth some percentage of that mirror. So you trade it for like 5 chaos to someone, they run it and lose their chaos. Your relics, which act as passive bonuses within the Sanctum, are locked in for the run when you start the first floor and can't be changed for the rest of the run. Speaking of relics, they're now tradable and have been rebalanced around this.
Relíquias
To
agora
those of you
vão ser
wondering, we've
trocáveis.
decided against bringing back sanctified relics for now. A complete Sanctum run now requires killing the final boss, Lycia, in both her first and second form. She will always drop a unique relic, and these have been reworked and replaced as we rebalanced everything.
Sem relíquia
An important
santificada
aspect of the new
por hora,
Sanctum balance
droga.
is that your primary defenses now have some effect on protecting your resolve. Your armor allows you to mitigate resolve loss, and your evasion grants you a chance to avoid resolve loss entirely, a lot like how armor and evasion work. Your energy shield grants you Resolve Aegis, which is a mechanic that works similarly to how Energy Shield behaves for life. In light of the new defensive opportunities and learnings from the original Challenge League, we've rebalanced the difficulty of Sanctum, especially in later floors, and have worked to add more monster and room variety to runs. We've added new boons and afflictions themed around the new defensive mechanics and have rebalanced many of the other ones. Like other optional endgame systems that involve tradable items, players who don't want to play Sanctum can trade their Sanctums to other players in exchange for an item or currency that benefits them more. Successful Sanctum play can generate a lot of rewards. It'll potentially be possible to build characters dedicated to Sanctum running and just farm Sanctums repeatedly in order to profit. Sanctum isn't the only improvement that Trial of the Ancestors brings to Path of Exile's endgame. We're also introducing 16 new Atlas Keystone passives to the Atlas
16
passive tree.
questões novas.
As a quick summary for new players joining us, the Atlas tree is a system that allows you to customize your endgame experience in Path of Exile. As you complete different maps, you gain skill points that can be allocated in the tree. You could use these points to modify the behavior of different content you encounter in in-game maps to make it more difficult or more rewarding, or to behave entirely differently. The system allows you to double down on the content you enjoy and avoid content you don't. Keystones are really impactful passives that totally change how endgame systems behave. Usually they have an element of give and take and require you to come up with new strategies to take advantage of them. Each of these 16 new Atlas Keystones changes how you might interact with Path of Exile's endgame. Let's have a look at some of them now. We will reveal the rest of them before the release of Trial of the Ancestors in a few weeks. Extreme Archaeology completely changes how you play expedition encounters. Instead of placing a series of regular explosives, you now place one gigantic explosive. Every single chest or monster in the blast radius is affected by every remnant in that radius.
No.
Speaker of the Dead makes it so that tormented spirits can possess you rather than possessing monsters. Boosting your stats instead. While possessed, you can touch monsters just like a spirit can, making them stronger and more rewarding. It's kind of getting silly at this point, isn't it? Blight is like a tower defense minigame inside Path of Exile. The Cassia's
Os espíritos te possuem em vez de possuir os monstros.
take significantly less damage from players and significantly more damage from Blight towers. This basically lets you go all in playing like an actual tower defense game.
Legal, gostei desse daí.
Lucid Dreams makes it so that Val's side areas in your maps are no longer corrupted, meaning that you can use currency items to change their mods. That's right, when you encounter a Val side area, the keystone lets you craft it. Yeah, so we rebalanced the side area mods, we've improved reward outcomes, and we've made the downside mods a bit more punishing, you know, just to make it interesting if you try to go for the good outcomes.
Valeu,
You may
Cris, muito
also
obrigado.
rarely encounter a unique Val side area. Destructive play makes it so that the Maven will summon between 1 and 3 extra random map bosses when you are fighting witnessed map bosses. This keystone is
Nossa.
analogous to the Eldritch Altar keystones that make those influences more difficult but more rewarding. There are another 11 new keystones that we'll reveal over the next few weeks. Together, these 16 keystones mean that regardless of how you enjoy your maps, you'll have plenty of new ways to play Path of Exile's endgame in this expansion. And I should note, in the initial draft of the keynote, I painstakingly went through every single keystone. It took like 10 minutes. But we'll put them in the news to save you some time here. In the Trial of the Ancestors expansion, we're shifting Path of Exile's metagame in several ways. The first is by introducing 14 new support gems, which are designed to take existing categories of skills and provide entirely new ways to play them. For full information, check the final gem hovers when we post them in the next few weeks. Let's have a look at a handful of these support gems now. In Path of Exile, war cries usually buff your party but don't directly hurt monsters. The Corrupting Cry support gem turns war cries into damage-dealing skills by making them inflict corrupted blood on monsters affected by the war cry or by your attacks that it exerts.
Faz o Warcry virar skill de combate.
The Returning Projectiles support gem causes projectiles from supported skills to return to you, piercing all targets but dealing a little less damage. I think there's another example too.
Nossa, que desgraça.
The Fresh Meat support gem causes minions created by supported gems to gain adrenaline, critical strike chance, and critical strike damage for a duration after they're first summoned. So you've got to work out a way to keep refreshing your minions, and it makes them a lot more powerful. The Flamewood support gem causes totems to trigger projectile mortars at enemies that hit them. This is particularly synergistic with totems that can taunt enemies, such as Decoy Totem, or one of the new Chieftain Ascendancy skills that I might talk about shortly. The Sacrifice support gem works on spells that you either cast yourself or through totems. These spells now sacrifice a percentage of your current life, or the totem's life, to gain additional chaos damage based on how much life was sacrificed. The Frigid Bond support gem affects Link skills and causes a cold mist to come over them. Enemies caught in the beam are chilled and are dealt cold damage over time. This creates a new tool for a cold damage over time build requiring strategic placement of both yourself and your Link's ally. I mentioned it was going to get silly. The Locust Mine support gem looks OP and affects attack skills that use bows and wands. Instead of directly using the supported skill, you throw mines in an arc that use that skill for you, targeting your location when you detonate them. In addition to these gems, there are another 7 that we'll be revealing over the next few weeks. In addition to the 14 new support gems, our balance work for the Trial of the Ancestors involved us revamping 2 Ascendancy classes. These are the subclasses that you can specialize in as you play through Path of Exile's campaign. Each main character class has 3 Ascendancy classes available. In the last expansion, Crucible, we overhauled the Pathfinder and Saboteur. This time, it's the Guardian and Chieftain, which are specializations of the Templar and Marauder, respectively. While we were very happy with the theme of the Guardian, it was falling behind the power level and popularity of other Ascendancy classes. Our changes in this expansion have modernized the class and will present you with more relevant build opportunities than before. Brace yourself. Okay. Path of Exile 102. Harmony of Purpose can power up parties using Link skills. Time of Need now completely cleanses and heals you every 4 seconds. Radiant and Unwavering Crusade both fully embrace the Holy Summoner theme by giving you access to some exciting new types of minions that are exclusive to this Ascendancy class. We have this picture on the announcement page, pathofexile.com/ancestor, for you to scrutinize. Next.
Okay.
While the Guardian's revamp was similar to that of the Pathfinder, the
Cris é
Chieftainers
foda,
received the
mano.
Saboteur
Fazendo piada
treatment. To be
com a
honest, we
galera
were
xingando
unhappy
eles.
about many aspects of
Por
the
causa
Ascendancy
do.
class in its old
Ficar
form, and
mexendo
so
nas
we've
classes que a
completely
galera
redesigned
gosta.
it. You can play it now.
Eu
It's
tô assim
basically
zoando.
an entirely new Ascendancy class with the same name and art and a new way of approaching its themes. Its new skills let you, among other things, cause
Esse é o
enemies
que
to
eu gosto.
explode,
Estão
turn
mexendo
off
nele.
enemies' fire resistance while you're stationary, convert passive skills to apply to fire damage, and have your fire resistances apply to your cold and lightning resistances. I'll just give you a sec more to read.
Ainda tem um
Alright,
bagulho
that's on the
de
site too for you to
regeneração
check
de
out. It's pretty
vida?
powerful now.
Não tô achando.
To celebrate the
Não,
release of the
pera,
Trial of
volta
the
aqui, Chris.
Ancestors, we'll be hosting a boss kill event. To enter, create a hardcore solo self-found character in the Ancestor League and race to kill all 7 Uber Pinnacle bosses on the same character. Note that unlike the last event we ran, this one is not a ruthless event. We'll post more information about the event and its prizes in the news before release. Best of luck to everyone. For the Ancestor Challenge League, we're launching 2 new series of supporter packs, the Shade and Disciple packs. Each tier contains the pack's full face value and points, alongside several exclusive microtransactions. These packs are only available for the duration of the Ancestor League and will leave the store forever when it ends. As always, the microtransactions in these packs are purely cosmetic and do not affect the character's power or progression in any way, despite how cool they look. The Shade series of supporter packs contains 6 exclusive microtransactions.
Olha esse trono ali.
Alright, the sarcophagus back attachment imprisons an unspeakable evil that struggles to break free. Nearby monsters send it into a frenzy, and enemy deaths provide it with souls to feast upon.
Legal.
The Stygian
Ele
waypoint
tá mostrando os
shackles visitors
cosméticos
to your hideout
novos.
in chains, yourself included. These chains are just cosmetic though, and they break as soon as you move. It would supposedly be a gameplay advantage to be able to imprison people. The Ferryman's armor set is so full of trapped souls that some of them try to escape. Moving while wearing the boots will leave souls in your wake trying to break free.
Ó, foda.
The Infernal Portal opens a gate to the Netherrealm when you approach. This prompted a lot of internal discussion about whether using Hellfire to heat your hideout is actually safe and practical. The Demon-bound crafting bench allows you to enslave a malevolent entity to craft items for you. Be warned, it has a sharp tongue and will mock you mercilessly.
You shamed me for such a paltry use.
The Nebula character effect causes items you pick up to orbit you in an ethereal cloud of loot.
Nossa, fica pegando os loot desnecessários.
The Disciple series of supporter packs also contains
Mano,
6
sou
exclusive
idiota,
microtransactions.
velho.
Look at dog.
Oh, look, a dog.
Put that in the top pack. The Hero's Landing finisher effect summons a marble statue from the heavens to execute unique monsters you defeat. You decide whether it's the sword or the huge lump of rock that actually kills them. The Bell Tower map device heralds the opening of a new map with a peal of bells. Start to run out of portals though, and it will reflect your desperate situation.
Nossa.
This is fine. The Cathedral armor set refracts light through your character, creating beautiful patterns on the ground around it. If your life gets low, it responds in kind. The Observer Diamond Flask summons a tentacled mass that fires its eye lasers at enemies you critically strike while the flask is active. Again, cosmetic. The Currency Orb Charge effect lets you pick from a number of different currency types to replace your charges with, as long as you've used that currency item anytime from today onwards. Some people... We have to store it in the database, right? Some people will show they can be part of the exclusive club of players who have actually used a Mirror of Calandra. This effect also causes your charges to display in town. So the theory is you go use your standard mirror, which we all have, right? The Faithful Hound Pet is a very good doggo, and it knows a few tricks. You can command it to sit, roll over, or play dead. And yes, you can pet the dog.
Não acredito que eles fizeram isso. Tá certo.
These new packs are available right now at pathofexile.com/purchase, and purchases like these directly fund the ongoing development of Path of Exile 1 and 2. Meanwhile, the Lithomancer and Enchanter packs leave the store forever at the launch of Trial of the Ancestors, so now's your last chance to purchase them. There's some good stuff in those too. Thanks for your continued support. The fun part. For the last Exilecon, we developed a special card game that encapsulated the full gameplay arc of Path of Exile over the course of the event. Players could defeat monsters, progressively upgrade their items, use currency items to craft their equipment, find and run maps, and eventually defeat pinnacle bosses to earn rewards. It was a whole lot of fun, and we've had so many requests to run it again. So this year, we're proud to bring you the 2023 version of the Exilecon card game. And like all Path of Exile expansions, it even includes a challenge league. In your swag bags, you'll have found a box of Exilecon cards, and then a gentleman outside will have asked to purchase them from you for real money. If you have any cards left, you can use these to challenge GGG staff members who are walking around Exilecon as monsters. They'll be wearing t-shirts showing the monster's stats, which include symbols for their attack and defense. Using the cards in your deck box, and those you accumulate by defeating monsters, put together one set of armor, one weapon and shield, or a two-handed weapon, and an amulet and 2 rings. To defeat a monster, the damage on your weapon has to be equal to or larger than the defense of the monster, and the defense on the armor and shield have to be equal to or larger than the attack of the monster. It's that simple. There are some wildcard symbols. It's explained on the rules in the box. Rings and amulets are pretty hard to find, and they can be used for either attack or defense. So to attack a monster, politely approach a staff member wearing the shirt, introduce yourself, and show them the set of equipment you want to use. If your symbols match, then you'll have defeated them, and they'll give you a reward and remove some of the durability from your items. They do this by clicking the card, so if you want to keep the card pristine, don't necessarily attack someone with it. It will get damaged in combat. Be careful not to waste your best items on low-level monsters. You're not allowed to attack the same monster twice in a row, so you need to explore Exilecon to find different GGG staff members. You can get maps by defeating monsters marked as gods. Take these maps to the map device to run them and progress through the tiers. On the back of the box is a list of quests. As you complete quests, you can visit the crafting bench on the top floor to receive rewards for completing those quests. While you're there, you can also use your currency items to modify your equipment. I mentioned that this year's version of the card game introduced a challenge league.
Eles botaram Delve nas cartas.
Accumulate sulfite and bring it to the delve wall, sorry for the bad photo, it's hard with lighting, on the middle floor. Each sulfite card you hand in allows you to explore one tile of the Azurite mine. You'll all be working collaboratively throughout the event to delve deep into the mine, fight the monsters that lurk there, and uncover its treasures. And I feel really bad for the poor people that had to hang 3,000 cards on that wall. You may eventually be able to challenge the pinnacle bosses if you manage to get really far in the card game. I'm the Searing Exarch, Jonathan is the Eater of Worlds, and Mark is the Maven. Defeating any of the 3 of us will reward you with a Mirror of Calandra enamel pin. This pin is exclusively available for winning the card game and won't be sold in the merchandise shop. Each person can only receive a maximum of 2 mirrors, and when they run out, we can't give any more out, so try to win the game early. The reason for 2 is a very typical Path of Exile reason, 1 for you and 1 to trade.
Pra você e
It's
pra
almost
trocar.
time to go and experience Exilecon 2023. Aside from the card game, we've prepared a full weekend of activities for you. There's a busy roster of talks and interviews on the main stage and the streamer stage. We've posted a schedule at pathofexile.com/Exilecon, so you can see what is happening when and where. The schedule also includes information on meet and greet sessions. Our special guests this year include a roster of many of your favorite streamers, but also some game development industry friends we've met over the last 16 years. We're proud to once again welcome the creators of the Diablo series, David Brevik, Max Schaefer, and Eric Schaefer, as well as Travis Baldry, who you may know from Fate, Torchlight, and his popular fantasy books, or even the books he's narrated. They'll not only have meet and greet sessions, but are also participating in an action RPG roundtable discussion alongside me and Eric tomorrow on the stage. In all of the developer talks and panels, Exilecon attendees will be able to scan a QR code on their phone to submit questions for the speakers to discuss in the panel or on the Q&A section of the talk. The Path of Exile 2 Exilecon demo is a large one, and you may want to play it multiple times this weekend. In each session, you can pick from one of 4 character classes, which start at various points throughout the first 4 acts of Path of Exile 2's campaign. Around half of each act is included in the demo, and your session time is limited to 45 minutes before you have to let someone else have a turn. Remember, as Jonathan said earlier, this demo is hard. Read the signs that explain how your skills combine together. Dodge roll is your new friend. You should also swing by the Path of Exile mobile demo at the chill out area on the top floor and check out its progress. It's coming along really well, and we'd love to get your feedback on it. We've created heaps of new Path of Exile merchandise, which is available at our merchandise shop on the middle floor. We've made 17 new t-shirts, which include a few from our community t-shirt design competition. We've created a range of 24 enamel pins. You'll have found a random one in your swag bag. If you approach me and I'm wearing a pin, feel free to swap for the one you've got if you'd like. Happy to trade. You can purchase the others in the shop. As mentioned before, there's also the super exclusive Mirror of Calandra pin that is only available to winners of the card game. Maybe you're able to trade for a full set. There are 2 new posters. One is the Atlas passive tree, and the other is the periodic table of currency. In addition to reprinting the incredibly popular Celestial Cat socks, we've also introduced the Chaos Orb socks, better for business meetings. There's also a range of 4 desk pads to keep your play area tidy. You can check them out at the demo zone. We have a limited range of Exilecon 2019 merchandise available in the store as well. Make sure to hit it up early if you want some of this, because stocks of the older items are quite limited. We have plenty of new merchandise for everyone, though, and I think I might have underestimated that. The Exilecon livestream concludes tomorrow with our grand racing finale, where 4 players compete for up to $10,000 and the title of Exilecon 2023 Racing Champion. Afterwards, we're hosting an after party at 8 p.m. at the venue. If you're watching from home, please note that because there are multiple things going on at the same time here, and we can only stream one of them live, we'll be re-streaming 3 of today's talks tomorrow before the event starts. So to be clear, they're occurring here, people can watch them in person, but you can't watch them at that time because we're streaming something else. So we're going to re-stream those tomorrow in the 3 hours where it's way too early to do it in New Zealand, but you can watch them online from the States and Europe. This makes sure that everyone is fully up to date on all of the talks that have been announced.
Eles vão mostrar o demo do CASTV
before the
2
important Q&A in the morning where you get to ask the important questions. If you missed out on attending Exocon this year, we'll be at Gamescom in Germany in August and PAX West in Seattle in September. At both shows, the Path of Exile 2 booth will have our Exocon demo available to play and a small team of Grinding Games developers, including me and Jonathan, to chat to, and we hope to see you there. Thanks so much for joining us this weekend at Exocon 2023. Have a great show, everyone.
Ok. Cara, eu gostei das paradas aí que eles mostraram, mano, principalmente do Patch of Exile 2. As mudanças da próxima temporada também agora pra junho tá legal, mas...
The second half, the post-stall cast. For you, I'm Ziggy D, joined by once again by Nathal, and Nugi, and we're gonna have a bit of a chat about what we've seen so far, and there is a lot to go over. Well, we distract you while we wait for the next upcoming segment, which will be Kriparian interviewing Jonathan about Path of Exile 2. So until then, though, let's have a little bit of a chat about some of the things we've seen. Why don't we kick things off with the separation of Path of Exile 1 and 2 into separate games, and what that means. What do you guys have any thoughts about that, Mathal?
Agora só vamos falar sobre
they didn't own enough
as
of my
paradas.
soul. So, like, instead of just, you know, playing as much as you want of Path of Exile League, a few weeks here or there.
Vamos, deixa eu ver aqui a situação do
and then maybe
Genshin.
do some other things. Instead, you're pretty much locked in a cycle of playing both versions now. With
Está faltando a gente
launches
fazer algo ainda.
continuously, and I'm just going to be doing that basically for the rest of my life. So that's the big shock and twist for me. But other than that, Path of Exile 2 looked amazing. Yeah, nothing short of what I expected.
Awesome. Rise?
I gotta say, I was thinking that that's the right path for Path of Exile, and I mentioned it to a couple people, and they were all going, "Nah, no, there's no way. They're not doing that." Even developers were like, "We're not telling you anything." Turns out, they're doing it. So,
Só tem desafio agora para fazer. Mas a gente vai fechando por aqui, galera.
For a long time, I think they have a very nice schedule with those last couple weeks.
3 horinhas já de live, já são 8
another PoE 1 or PoE 2 expansion. So I'm really looking forward to that.
Nugi?
Vou terminar de fazer as paradas que pendem aqui em casa. E segundona, provavelmente eu vou estender um pouco mais a live, segunda. E vamos fazer as semanais. Provavelmente eu vou encaixar o Lingus também, que eu quero fazer o evento dele. Então é isso, galera. Tenham uma boa noite, agradeço a todos aí pela companhia. Mano, eu gostei aqui do que eu vi aqui no Patch of Exile. Eu tô animado, cara. Quero ver como é que vai ser a temporada nova aí. É isso, galera. Fui.